Let me take you through our story on the foreign remittance bill that's been cleared in the parliament. It's now enraged and outraged the Kerala Christian community right in time of Kerala elections. So just days before Kerala votes on April 9th, a new law from the centre has sparked quite a big political fight. The centre has introduced the Foreign Contribution Amendment Bill 2026. What does it say? It says if an organisation loses its FCRA licence, the government can step in and take control of its funds and assets. The government says this is about better monitoring. It's to stop misuse of foreign money and to tighten the system basically, so that money coming from outside is not misused. And where's the money coming from? All of that needs to be clear. And if at all it's not clear, then you could lose your license and therefore the government gets full control of your institution. In Kerala, this is being seen very differently because here foreign funded institutions are not just NGOs there, but they're schools, they're colleges, hospitals, orphanages. Many of them are run by Christian and minority organizations. Christian communities have a lot of money that comes in as donations from abroad, and minority institutions there run because of that. So they now feel that this is deliberate targeting. All these institutions are part of everyday life for the Christian community by and large. So the fear is, will this law be used fairly or selectively? The Kerala government says that minorities are feeling insecure with this bill. Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan has written to the Prime Minister asking for some changes as well. The Congress says this is political. They say that the centre is now trying to target institutions that don't align with the BJP's ideology. BJP, of course, completely rejecting this. They say only those breaking the rules need to worry about this. Union Minister Kiran Rijiju calls the criticism as completely false, but politically this is getting very tricky for the BJP, who's trying to, of course, woo the Christian community in Kerala ahead of elections. So this has backfired. The party has been trying to build trust with the Christian community, and now this law has created a doubt of sorts. There is also anger over the timing. Opposition says the bill was introduced when many MPs were busy campaigning. They say there wasn't enough debate on such a sensitive issue. Right before an election, this comes. Is this really a genuine attempt to regulate foreign funding or a move that could hurt the BJP's own outreach in Kerala? Let's take you through all the reactions that are coming in from the Kerala government, from the BJP and from the Christian community.
Amendments, as a result of which, if these amendments is being enacted and it becomes part of the act, then they can discontinue the registration. Once they discontinue the registration, they can take over, confiscate the assets generated by these voluntary organizations. The contribution from foreign donation would be only partial. There would be substantial investment made by the people of our country in various organizations and associations against which the RSS-controlled central government can move. So, we forcefully oppose these amendments.
This is completely false, fabricated and misleading. The proposed FCRA Amendment Bill is only to regulate the flow of foreign funding to India, to check the misuse of any funds for illegal activities in the national interest, because there are certain money which illegally comes and used against national security. So for national interest, for national security, there is a proposed legislation. It is only amendment to regulate the flow of the funds. So I would strongly reject this kind of rumors spread by the Congress party and Communist party.
നിശ്ചയമായിട്ടും പുതിയ FCRA ഭേദഗതി ബിൽ മലങ്കര സഭയെ സംബന്ധിച്ചിടത്തോളം പ്രത്യേകിച്ച് ക്രൈസ്തവ സഭകളെയെല്ലാം വളരെ ആശങ്കയിലാഴ്ത്തിയിരിക്കുന്ന ഒരു നിയമമാണ്. കാലാകാലങ്ങളായിട്ട് FCRA മുഖാന്തരം സഭയ്ക്ക് വിദേശത്തു നിന്ന് ലഭിക്കുന്ന പണം വളരെ കർശനമായ നിയമങ്ങളിൽ പാലിച്ചുകൊണ്ട് തന്നെയാണ്
All right. Well, You've heard reactions there from all three stakeholders. Let me quickly bring in our guest joining us for more. Advocate Vasant Siriyak, spokesperson of the KPCC in Kerala. We also have George Khalilwayadlil, who's the editor, National Affairs Deepika Daily newspaper in Kerala, and Satish Kumar, advocate and political analyst. Thanks very much. Satish, a quick word. Do you want to explain the bill for us? Why is this so outrageous for the Christian community? We understand that in this new bill, the amendment is that the government will take over the assets, land, including the land and building, if at all the NGO that's receiving money from foreign remittance or foreign funding coming in, if at all there's no clarity or legitimate protocols being followed, they could lose license, and that would mean the government will take full control of the NGO. Now in Kerala there are so many NGOs that run institutions and they thrive. That's part of their everyday life, and they feel that the government is trying to infringe on their right. Could you break it down for us in simple terms, what this bill holds?
Good evening to everyone. Basically, this FCRA, the present the bill which was passed on March 25th in the Parliament, it is basically it is not concentrating on the time of the election or something like that. It is a common bill which is supposed to be passed, and to regulate is basically to regulate the foreign funds in India. This is not only concerning the election or something like that. Maybe the time of passing that bill would attract such comments from the opposition parties. But basically, I think there's nothing wrong in passing such an amendment, because generally there is an opinion created by the opposition parties today that as if that the government is going to take over all the assets of the institutions. That is not so. That is not the case actually.
If the NGO's license is cancelled for whatever reason.
If the license will be cancelled, if at all it is getting misused. See, if the institutions are using the funds, they have got the right to collect the funds. Their contribution can be accepted. If the contribution is accepted for the welfare of their own society people, then there is no question at all. If the funds are misused for some
What is misused? Like, for example, what is misuse? Forced conversion? That's one of the contentious issues we hear.
Yeah, if you say that as a force, when you are using the word force, that itself is prohibited in our constitution. So, because
the meaning of forced is so flawed. Anybody converting today, the larger perception is that you are being forced. Even if they are willingly converting, you are being forced. I'm willingly wanting to convert. No, you are being forced. So the definition of conversion is blurred.
There is in law itself, there is a question of force, undue influence. It's also there. If it is whether it is an undue influence, also it's against law. If it is a force, it is also against law. This fully depends on the case-to-case basis, which do not generalize it. So, if you feel that it is a normal course of conversion, then your funds can be utilized for it, or to support the family, or to support the entire society or a village. It is all possible. When the funds are misused, the word misuse is very clear. And if at all it is misused, even at present, why the opposition parties are raising questions, because they feel that the funds may be used for election purpose.
Look, we know, sir, we know how efficient our documentation and technical paperwork is, how efficient our country is when it comes to paperwork and documentation. Suppose there is any lapse in technicality or documentation or paperwork, any lapse, for any good reason, the government can cancel license, and any good reason the government, that's the fear. The fear is that they can take over assets for a small technical error also. Now, for the Christian community, it's a very big matter. They can't be living on the edge. It's not right for them to be living on the edge. That's my only submission here. George, would you want to come in on that? Let me bring in George on the panel.
I will explain this point.
No, sir. Let me bring in George on the panel. I want to hear his version as well. George, please give us a sense of what the community feels about this bill.
First of all, this has nothing to do with any religion, even not just Christianity. Every NGO may be facing a trouble. If somebody is targeting the government or some officer targets an NGO, this can be closed down. Entire assets can. The clause 16A, bracket 7 of the amendment says that in case of a place of worship, the designated authority can entrust the management or operation of the asset to a person in such a manner as they may be prescribed. It must be ensured that the religious character of the such place be maintained. But taking over a religious place, taking over a school, taking over a hospital in the pretext of something, this entire foreign contribution is checked by, monitored by the Home Ministry of the Government of India, and every renewal of the foreign FCRA registration needs full government approval, full perusal of the government, and utilization certificates, which each minute, even a 1 rupee, it should be clearly mentioned whether it is used for this one. But here, the intention of the government is very clear, because the MIS, Home Affairs, Mr. Nityananda Rai, while presenting this budget, says the body government will not tolerate anyone who works against constitution. We all agreed. But the second sentence, he says the bill is dangerous for those who want to carry out forcible religious conversion using foreign fund. Not even one case is proved in India. Not even one single case of forcible conversion is proved in India by court of law. This is a country of law and justice. You cannot simply WhatsApp universities can spread any malignant, they can malign any religion, any accuse anybody, but it should be proved in the court of law. Not even one case is proved, and nobody is under bars after court court judgment. This has to be. Then their intentions are very clear. This bill is brought because every clause to prohibit any illegal use is already there in the session, but a new session that they can take over anything, even if a bill or even if the registration, FCRA registration is denied or not approved, or even if it is delayed, they can take it over. That means, and you should know that if a project of 500 crores, there may be only 5 crores from the foreign currency. All 495 crores maybe no, they made this from internal sources, that Indian sources, our own sources, our own money, not the. But when we take over, if there is a foreign funding, from a little foreign funding, they can take over the entire property, entire assets. How can it be allowed in a democratic country? This is against the basic freedom of that is assured by the
Advocate
Constitution.
Vasant also is with us. The Congress and many other opposition parties say that many of them were busy, MPs were busy campaigning, and it was passed very quickly without proper discussion. And now they feel like, opposition feels like it was done without proper consent. Ultimately, the bill was passed.
Yes, see, the amendment allows the central government to appoint an authority to take the control of NGOs' funds and assets when its FCRA license is cancelled or surrendered, which may be within a tiny reasons. This is not a regulation. This is completely a control. NGOs are independent bodies working for the poor and marginalized, and they are working in our society very influentially. They can influence the vote. They can influence the voice of the people. They can even influence the mind of the people. So, if the government can control the NGOs, then they can control the people indirectly. If the government can cancel their license and then take over their
National
assets,
security. Government is saying national security. They don't want to be feeding into anti-national elements. So they want to streamline it.
No. If the government can cancel the licenses and then take over the assets, then what national security concern is coming in that? It creates a dangerous concentration of power and dangerous concentration of the power within the central government. That is what is going to happen, because as I already said, the NGOs are working within the country with many people. They are doing many charitable programs.
We
And
know the
many
number of NGOs and Christian missionary institutions that get foreign funding, and the great work that they're doing is undeniable. We know that it's part of daily life, but the government feels that a little bit of regulation, course correction is needed, and the FCRA bill was already there. It's just an amendment.
No, in this through this amendment, they are picking up the NGOs under their control. That is what is going to happen, and that is what is we are going to defend. The regulation is needed. We are also with that. If the fund is used for any anti-national purposes, not only with the Christian NGOs, but with all the NGOs, temple NGOs are there, temple trusts are there. We should think about that also. If the foreign fund is using for anti-national purpose, then we have to defend it. But the regulation is needed. We are also with that. But the regulation should not become a confiscation.
A tool.
Yes, a tool to control the vote, to control the voice of the people, and to influence the people who are influenced by these
that
NGOs.
This has come
That
right in time of elections in Kerala is a way to, I mean, is this a way to push the Christian community to vote for the BJP, or is the Christian community going to be very angry? What's going to happen? I know what you will say about it, but George, what do you think will happen? Are they going to be forced into voting for the BJP or not?
Definitely the timing is very bad for BJP. The Christians, the Muslims, because yesterday the Muslim community leaders were meeting in the Islamic Culture Center in Delhi regarding this, and the Christians were meeting in the Christians and other Sikhs and other communities were meeting in CBCI Center in Goldakana in Delhi, and all were unanimous. And it is very clear that the Christians will be voting against BJP on just before this. Not just Christians, the Muslims, the others, those who have something. Allowing the union government to take over foreign funds or all the assets of the NGOs of it or its institutions upon cancellation, surrender, or mere expiry, or even delaying the renewal of an FCRA registration, it is just undemocratic, unconstitutional, and contrary to the principles of natural justice. These are excessive regulatory measures grant wide discretionary powers to the authorities, risking arbitrary decisions, misuse, and executive overreach into constitutionally guaranteed freedoms.
All right.
Such controls severely undermines democratic principles and weaken public accountability.
All right, we hear you, but we also know the government's version that this is done on
clear political impact in Kerala, and I am sure it will repeat in Tamil Nadu.
We'll see what the political turnaround will be for the BJP, if at all. Thanks very much. That's all I have time for. Thank you for joining us.